gonna wait a minute or two, see if anybody else comes in before I start, and then we'll get to the tutorial. I'm gonna check my levels real quick. Quick. All right. All right, I'm just gonna start now. 1 second. All right, so I'm going to be using a song that's in this genre of metal to explain this, and I'm going to be using the Earthbound sound font. The Earthbound is a game. It's from Nintendo. It was for the Super NES. It's a pretty good RPG. Maybe you've heard of it, but anyway, I'm using those instruments to demonstrate my point today. So let's say you have a song and your bass and your kick drum are just not doing what you want them to do. So we're gonna have a listen to this real quick, and then I will show you why it sounds the way it does, and then we're gonna change the bass feel to give another example of how bass could be arranged in a song like this. So the bass doesn't come in until here, and we can solo those out. That's the kick drum and the bass guitar. So on the bass guitar, I have a EQ, and you know how you're in your car and you can flip some of the sound settings and add bass, add mids, or add treble? That's all this is, just a fancy version of that. And so you can see I'm adding a lot of highs and a little bit of mid information to get some more crisp out of the bass guitar. To fill in some of that information, because we only have like 3 or 4 instruments, so I want them to be as characterful as possible. And over here you see the key of how I have this bass mixed, and basically sorry, you can see I have the bass sort of cut off to about here, so there's no sub in the bass. I'll bring it back in. You can kind of hear it down there if you have headphones. Now sorry, I have to go get my cat. It is meowing. All right, I'm back for now. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, that's what I have done to the bass guitar. I have a lot of mid and high information boosted. I've taken some of the sub energy out, and I did this so that when you're listening on a phone or in your car and you don't have a lot of bass information, you'll hear both the bass guitar and the kick very well, because when you're listening on a phone or something smaller, you have less bass, obviously. But by but by keeping most of the bass information up here for the bass guitar and having the kick take care of the really low information, so they're sharing, so the kick gets the sub and the bass guitar gets these frequencies. So you can still hear the kick when you have small speakers, obviously. But you can also hear the bass guitar well because it's reaching up into those upper bass frequencies. So the alternate way you could do this, here, let's reset the bass guitar. I'm gonna check for questions. Okay, no questions. The other way you could do this is you keep what I had there, and then what you do is you would carve out a chunk for that kick drum. And let's say the kick drum kicks around this frequency, and then you can boost the lower bass frequencies since you did this. Let's get about half there. So now, and then you go into the kick. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, so then you go into the kick and you would boost at around the same frequency that you took a chunk out of. And you kind of want it wide because when you're boosting, you want to make wide boosts, and when you're cutting, you want to make thin cuts. Usually. But yeah, so let's do about that. 136. Yeah, and then you roll off the sub because that information is going to be used by the bass guitar. But I prefer, and I think it's better if you do it the first way that I had it, because if you go here and you take out the bass of the song, simulating listening on a radio or your phone or bad headphones or anything that doesn't have bass, you're going to hear some weakness in the bass guitar because I'm cutting out these frequencies and boosting really low ones, which you can't even hear on phones, so you end up just losing the bass guitar in this sort of style of mix. So yeah, it is in my opinion that it's better to do the other way. I don't know what this cat's problem is. Anyway, no sub. Yeah, you can go back to where it was. So here, keep the boost that I had here, and then add add some of the sub bass. I'm just boosting a lot of that click on the kick. So yeah, that's the little tutorial on how I did the bass mixing for this, and I showed an alternate way that would be better suited for another genre maybe. I don't really make music, but I still enjoy work, so I'm going to hang out here for a bit. Well, thank you, Sophia. Am I even, like, live still? No. Am I even, like, live? Okay, I am. This is confusing. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it for the tutorial. I wanted to keep this sort of short and sweet, and if there were people in the chat that had questions as I was doing the tutorial, I wanted to answer them, but it seems you guys didn't have any questions, or there wasn't enough people to have questions. But yeah. I'll take questions now. Just one last, if anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them before I end the stream. I'll be waiting. I'll just keep the song playing for a second, I guess. So yeah, the bass guitar is straight in the middle, as bass instruments should be, because if you're missing a left or a right, speaker, you still want to have your bass be in both of the speakers equal amount. So people always put their bass straight in the middle of the stereo field, so it's not panning left or not panning right. It's always in the middle. And then I have a really wide effect on the guitars right now. This is what they sound like dry. So yeah, that's those dry. It can be, I guess there's no way to do that. I was gonna have it so that there's like no effect on the guitar here, and then there's the effect on the guitar over here. But I don't have any questions, so have a good day. Alright. Well, thank you for dropping in, Sophia. I'll hope to see you in the next stream. Whatever that may be. I might be writing something or doing another tutorial. It changes. But yeah, everyone have a good day. See ya. Have a good weekend.